Yeah. We don't know. His status is still unsure. You know, he's still battling that ankle injury that's been nagging him, it seems like, forever now. You know, but he's been great in his rehab. I hope he makes it. I don't know if he will. It's still something that we're up in the air on, waiting to see. But he's been great in the support of his teammates throughout the prep ever since the Alabama game. So we'll see what happens.
There's a chance if he doesn't play, he can join you all on the sideline.
I don't know that yet. I think he's just focused on getting that ankle 100%. You know, and if he gets 100%, then I think he's going to try to do everything he can to help us. And if he doesn't, then he'll be there to support his teammates. So it's still the good thing about right now. We still got a couple of days until we play. So I know he's battling hard. So we'll see what happens.
After the injury,
yeah.
SEC champ could be somewhere at a combine training.
After Vanderbilt, he could have went somewhere. Right? Like, he didn't have to come back. Okay. I think the people that are around us a lot know what type of person Brock is, right? You know what type of competitor Brock is, and I think it just shows how much he loves his teammates, right? It shows how much he loves his coaching staff, and it shows how much he loves Georgia, man. He is. Y'all have asked me a lot of questions about Brock before, and just how much of a competitor he is. Like he loves to compete. He is the ultimate competitor, and so the fact that he came back in, what was it, like 3 weeks? It was unbelievable that he came back from that ankle injury with that surgery and came back and played at a really high level against Ole Miss. Just shows how much he wanted to keep playing for, again, his teammates, his coaches in this university. Yeah, it's the injury, man. It's just, if he's healthy enough to play, then he'll play, and if he doesn't, then we'll see what happens after that. But, you know, we're just still waiting to see at this point. I mean, the hard work mentality, the toughness, the edge that he brings to practice every day, that's great for those young kids to see because, look, football is a contact sport. It's a violent sport. You got to have toughness to succeed in this game, right? And to be honest with you, there's a lot of that that's void in our sport nowadays. And to have a guy like that, like Brock, that's more throwback, that just loves the game. He loves the contact. He loves the toughness aspect of playing football. That's very infectious for his teammates. So he's a great person to have around because people feed off Brock and how he plays.
Every once in a while, we'll hear a little smack talk where he's talking about stiff arms or whatever. on the practice field, is he in the defense's face after a play, or is he a walk back to the huddle?
What do you think, Cody? You answer that question. I don't think Brock's talked any smack as long as I've known him. No, he just goes about his business, man. He does what he's supposed to do. He does his job at a very high level, and he gets back and does it again. And then he does it again, and then he does it again. He doesn't stop. I mean, it just shows this. He's unreal, man, in the fact that he just – it's hard to find another player that's like him before, just the way he does it at such a high level all the time. Like, he never stops.
What's the ceiling for Oscar as a team E1, so to speak, beyond a few games?
Yeah. I think he's really embraced his role, as that guy moving forward. And, Oscar, extremely talented, different than Brock. I mean, and everybody's going to try to compare the tight ends to Brock, but there's not going to be another Brock, and I don't want him to be another Brock. I want Oscar to be Oscar, right? And I want Lawson to be Lawson, and so on and so forth. But he, Oscar's had to mature a lot, okay? And I think with Brock's injury, it happened probably a little faster than he had thought. But that's good for us. That's good for our room. It's good for our offense. It's good for our team. And Oscar has shown that. His preparation has been very diligent. He's worked very hard. He's kind of really stepped up. And knowing that Brock's absence, that our offense still needs him. Our offense is predicated on how much we play the tight end and 11 personnel and 12 personnel and the ability to get the ball to those guys and change it up on the defense. And Oscar knows that it's now on him. If Brock's available, if he's not available, it's still he plays a large role in our offense. And he's done a great job just from a mental preparation standpoint of taking a larger part of the game plan. Yeah. Yeah, they're obviously here now, and I haven't seen them do much, obviously, in a couple of practices. Jaden's done a little bit more than Colton. He got a little bit earlier start than them, but those guys are exactly, what we thought they were coming in. They're big, they're physical, they're fast. They're different in their own aspects. Is kind of what they bring to the table, but they complement each other very well, and we look forward to what they can bring to our offense moving forward.
Your recruiting prospects as offense, the fact that you coach Brock and develop him,
Yeah.
made it easier, made it maybe a more effective sales pitch?
Yeah, obviously that sells itself just from kids love numbers, right? Kids love stats, kids love production, kids want the ball, all right? And the fact that you see the numbers that we have produced in our offense with the tight ends, it makes the sale a little bit easier for sure. Man, yeah, that he came in and made an immediate splash this time last year. Like, he's this high school kid that comes in and was able to do these bowl practices, and he went down on the scout team and was running Ohio State's offense, and then he was running TCU's offense, and the defensive guys were like, man, this Losson lucky guy, he's going to be a good player. And then that went into the spring, and he had a really good spring, very productive spring, and it kind of set the bar high for him going into the season. And then fall camp rolls around, and it was scrimmage number 2, I believe. We were in the stadium on the far right corner of the end zone, and had that ankle injury, and it took probably longer than anybody expected to come back. And I'll say this: he's healthier now than he ever has been, obviously, because time does that. Okay, but the biggest thing with Lawson lately has just been gaining that confidence back, because he was a very confident player in the past, and he had the injury. It took forever for him to come back. He lost a little bit of that edge, and so just getting him back into a mindset of, dude, I'm a dude that can help us. I'm a dude that needs to step up to the plate and replace some of the production that Brock, if Brock's there, if he's not there, whatever, that ball we get to that tight end, Lawson can have a big piece of that pie. It's just getting that confidence back to understand that he can be a dude for us.
Is there another position, maybe not your specific, but another player that you can quantify that took advantage of these bowl practices and it sprung toward them? He really stood up in X and transcended to that.
That's a great question. That's hard to answer, because I think us as coaches, we're so locked into our position. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just like you're kind of so tunnel vision on getting your players to do their job at an extremely high level that sometimes you don't see other stuff that's going on. I'll say this: I think Carson Becks had an unbelievable bowl prep. Obviously, just some of the things he's done in practice, some of the throws he's made. Everybody knows he's a very talented passer of the football, but some throws he's made this camp, this bowl camp, has been like, wow, this dude's elite, man. And we knew that, but if to answer your question, I'm gonna say Carson, because just some of the throws he's made has been unreal.
Were you surprised he decided to come back?
I wouldn't say so. I've known Carson for a long time. I recruited Carson when I was at Miami, and Jacksonville's been my recruiting area, so I've known the family a long time. I wouldn't say surprised. I think we were all hoping he would come back, and it was up in the air for a long time. But Carson loves Georgia, and Carson wants to help us win, obviously, and I obviously we're excited that he's coming back, but I wouldn't say surprised.
Get to know these kids as 9th, 10th graders.
Yeah.
Pour into them for a couple of years in Georgia, and then you have guys that decide to leave. What's it like putting all that blood, sweat, and tears in, and then just having somebody say this?
Yeah, well, you build relationships, right? Like you form relationships with these kids, and relationships take time, and you just think about all the time you've invested into each kid. And look, it's the nature of college football now. Like, it's the landscape that we live in, the portal landscape, and sometimes kids have to do what's best for them, and that's okay. That's okay. It hurts if you have a relationship with a kid that maybe you even recruited, you signed, you went through the whole process of bringing them in, they've been here for a couple of years, and then they leave. But ultimately, if you do truly love that kid and you truly have their best interest at heart, if it's you support their decision to leave, but that's what's best for them, that's what we do.
On the flip side of that, what's the code, because it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You guys, you have a relationship that didn't go with you guys originally, then come back.
Amen.
How do you keep that relationship maintained when they decided originally to go somewhere else?
Yeah, well, I think that's part of recruiting nowadays. Is Coach Smart does a great job of, look, if you lose them on signing day, just make sure you keep that relationship with them, because you might get them on the second time around, right? You might get them when they go into the portal, if that happens. And so you never want to end a recruiting day battle on a sour note nowadays, because there is a good chance they could come back, And so we have been very intentional about keeping those relationships alive.
Go back to Carson. Is it injected in you, or you see anything in practice, especially after the way they end the season?
Well, if you've been to any of our practices before, there's no absence of energy, no matter who we're playing or what time of year it is. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'll say this: it doesn't feel any different. I think everybody's it's kind of like there was that cloud of uncertainty of what he was going to do, and now there's not that. But yeah, I mean, he seems a little bit more relaxed. He seems like a little bit of pressure's off his shoulders. maybe that's why he's having such a good bowl camp, is because that decision's already behind him now. But we do feed off Carson. Carson is the leader of our offense, and as he goes, we go. And if he's practicing well, then we're usually practicing well too.
I know if you can control what you can control.
I'm gonna have you swap over. Yeah,
You guys are always moving forward.
Yeah.
Is it a punch in the gut, and how long would it take you to go over and not be moving on the floor?
You know what? Obviously, our goal is to win every game that we play, and we did that for a long time at Georgia. We knew that we had to beat Alabama, and we didn't. And so, if we want to be in it, then you better win every game you play. So, no problem.
Can I ask you, did Brock come back too soon? Is it maybe?
No, I don't think that was it, Chip, at all. We were very, I don't know the word I'm looking for, cautious of that. We didn't want to bring him back until he was 100% healthy. And we hit all the boxes were all checked. Every marker he had to hit, he hit, and everything was cleared through the doctors, through the surgeons, that we made sure. And then at the end, it was up to Brock too. It was like, hey, are you sure? Are you healthy? Do you feel like it? And every time it was yes. And every time he went to get a follow-up to make sure it was yes. So I don't think it was him coming back at all. I do think that he possibly might have re-aggravated it at some point that made it a little bit more sore. But no, I don't think it was him coming back too soon at all. If you know that kid, he'd tell you the same thing. Yep. Okay, good over there. Awesome.